Well, the IRS, how many times have we said this? The IRS under fire. Again, according to a new report, nearly half the cybersecurity fixes the agency claims that it has already made, well, it never made, never actually implemented it. Said they did, never did. And that's making hackers very happy because they're the ones who are trying to get into this whole healthcare law. And if the IRS isn't doing what it said, guess what? They can get into the healthcare information. Cato Institute's Dan Mitchell says that's what makes a bad situation worse. Explain, Dan.
There are two issues that we need to look at. One is the fact that government generally doesn't do things very effectively or competently, whether you're looking at the Obamacare exchange or just about whether you're looking at waste in the Pentagon, you name it, there's a generic problem, no bottom line profit motive, so things get sloppy. But then, and this is what worries me more, you have fundamentally bad laws that put a requirement on a government agency like the IRS to collect massive information about taxpayers and consumers. And whether we're looking at the tax law with all the double taxation that requires the IRS to know what assets we have, when we bought them, what we bought them for, et cetera, or whether we're talking about Obamacare with the IRS expected to be an enforcement, then augmented by the fact you have these exchanges that are sloppy with protecting and maintaining consumer data. I think it's just a nightmare where millions of Americans are at risk.
All right, I should say that we got this statement from the IRS that in recent years, the IRS has made tremendous strides on its systems and oversight to help support the nation's tax system. We have made progress on oversight and enhanced security controls. I just hope we just mistyped that because that makes absolutely no sense at all. But the gist of it is, it's not us. We're actually getting better. Is that enough when you put out a statement like that?
Well, first of all, do we actually know that that's a sincere and accurate statement? Are they getting better? Maybe 5 years from now, there'll be a GAO report or a Treasury Inspector General report that'll say things got worse. But I don't really want to just put the blame on the IRS or the Obamacare exchanges. It's the law, the underlying law that says government should have this much information about us. And we know that that information is very valuable to hackers and identity thieves. And it would be so simple. If we actually had good law, we wouldn't need all these requirements. So, even if you had angels heading up the IRS and the exchanges, you're probably not going to have it done very well by the nature of government, but it's the underlying policies that create such a perfect storm for the threat to our privacy.
Dan, we just had some ladies here debating, the impact of all of this and how long it would take for the president to right this healthcare ship. Both the liberal and the conservative saying it's a matter of weeks to sort of make sure that this is fixed and done. If it looks like it is not, then what?
I think the president and the Democratic Party more broadly are looking at a very rough period. But the flip side of that is, are Republicans capable and competent of actually exploiting that? And to exploit that intelligently and effectively, that means they have to propose serious structural reforms to the underlying bad laws. It doesn't mean rearranging some flow charts on some boxes on a bureaucratic flow chart. It doesn't mean tinkering at the edges of the Internal Revenue Code. You have to actually reduce the power, size, and scope of the federal government if you want to protect the privacy and the integrity of private financial data on the part of consumers and taxpayers. And that's why you can't just make a speech and say, we've solved the problem. You have to reduce government.
Yeah, because if anything has come out of this, Dan, I readily agree with you. It's this resentment about government encroaching too much and botching it too much. That has really suddenly changed our thinking about the role of government and how far it goes. Thank you, Dan.
And just
go ahead, finish.
Thank you. Well, I was just going to say that when we start seeing massive breaches of consumer privacy, huge identity theft issues, boy, whatever we're saying now is going to be trivial compared to the mess we're going to see in the future.
All the headaches are coming with it. Wipe out any gains, supposedly, that come with it. Dan Mitchell, thank you. I'm Cato.
Thank you.